Introducing the zero control. The Make Noise Zero control is a patchable, clockable, controller, and step sequencer for voltage-controlled synthesizer systems. Designed to be friends with the no-coast, it is a tabletop device whose inputs and outputs follow Eurorack standards, making it also a great partner for a modular system or another patchable tabletop synth. Let's try it out. Here's a basic controller patch to start. Always patch at least 2 cables between the zero control and the device it is controlling. Let's patch the pitch CV to the zero coast's 1 volt per octave input and the pressure output to the dynamics CV input. Each of the 8 touch plates activates a step. Pressing on a plate selects the step and creates a control voltage based on how hard we are pressing. We can set pitch per step with the 8 knobs of the top row, the pitch channel. The O control can also be sequenced by turning on the clock. Now it goes from one step to the next at whatever speed we like. We can still stop the sequence or make it jump to a new spot by pressing a step touch plate. Right now, since we are using pressure to control dynamics, we only hear notes when we interrupt the sequence. But we can change that by turning off the interrupt button. Now the sequence continues even when we press a touch plate, letting us control loudness with a separate gesture from the clocked pitch changes. Another option is to use the touch gate to open the contour circuit. This will create an envelope according to the settings of the contour circuit. We can also use the direction button to make the sequence play in forward or in reverse. What about the other 2 rows of knobs? I'm glad you asked. The 3 channels are pitch, strength, and time. They typically control the pitch, dynamics, and rhythm of our sequence. Turn up the time attenuator to allow the knobs of the time row to add time between steps. The strength channel controls the dynamic gate and envelope outputs. Let's use them to create our notes so we can hear how it works. The dynamic gate output is a variable strength gate output. If you're familiar with modular synths, then you probably know that variable strength gate outputs are uncommon because most gate inputs, by definition, do not care how strong a gate is. The O-coast contour input is different. The sustain phase of the contour circuit can be modulated by changing the gate's level at the gate input, up to a maximum level set by the sustain knob. Because of this, we can use the dynamic gate output to sequence contours of varying strength throughout our melody. For other gate inputs, any value above 10 o'clock or so will be enough to create a gate for them. The dynamic gate output can also be used without an envelope generator, patched directly to a VCA, low-pass gate, etc. The dynamic envelope is a 2-stage envelope with short, rise, and fall set by the length of the step. It gets stronger with higher values from the strength channel. This lets us create rests and accents by patching it straight to the dynamic CV input. The highest strength settings even add a short sustain. The envelopes are always sized relative to the time channel so that they are the appropriate length for the overall length of the step. Together, pitch, strength, and time represent the standard musical parameters of pitch, dynamics, and rhythm. The The no control also features a gate output for each step of the sequence. These gates go and stay high for as long as the step is active. They allow us to have things happen when the sequence reaches a particular step. For example, if we patch one to the stop input, the sequence will stop when it reaches that step. A single shot sequence. If we are using the strength channel, we can either let notes continue playing at the current speed and time, or make the sequence go silent by turning down this step's strength knob. The O control comes with stacking patch cables, which are useful for sending two gate outputs to the same input. For example, we can patch two step gate outputs to the direction input to make the sequence bounce back and forth between these two steps. Touch different step touch plates to bounce inside and outside these boundaries. A gate to the reset input causes the sequence to jump to the last step whose touch plate we touched with interrupt on. This lets us easily create sequences of any length from 2 to 8. Or just stop the sequence by touch when we want to by pressing the next touch plate over. The no control also has a clock input and output for syncing with other devices. You may use these with or without the internal clock running, and we will show some detailed examples in future videos. The no control is the no coast's best friend, and it can also be used with any classic CV gate synthesizer, and of course, anything that uses the Eurorack format, such as our tape and microsound music machine. Stay tuned for patch examples.